What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kicking with D. Welcome back to the channel. UFC Baku just ended this weekend, and it was a pretty good card. Lots of finishes on the fight, lots of fun fights. We're going to talk about that, and then afterwards, DDP versus Kamaru Usman got announced, and as well as Magomed versus Khalil Roundtree, and we'll talk about both of those fights and how those will turn out. So, first fight on the card in the prelims, it was Tahir Abdullaev versus Jefferson Nascimento. That was a pretty lackluster fight. Nascimento was just kind of like pacing around the cage, just not trying to engage, bouncing back and forth. And he was like basically just trying to stay on his bicycle, but he just wasn't engaging the whole time, which was kind of boring, I guess. He was 13-0. The other dude was 20-2. And yeah, it didn't pick up until like the third round when they started actually like throwing with each other. The fight ended up going to the ground. Tahir kind of got the better of him a little bit, and then he started throwing some ground and pound shots. He hit him with like one good one and then like some follow-up shots. He wasn't out or anything, but the ref called it off. I thought it was a pretty bad stoppage, but TKO loss. I'm not too worried about it because that fight was pretty dull, pretty boring. I didn't like how home dude just kind of like wasn't engaging. Every time they did engage, Tahir was just getting countered and everything, but it wasn't like there wasn't enough happening to where that would make me like super upset about that call. But it was a bad stoppage. And then the next fight was Bezat Alikan versus Gene Matsumoto, and this fight was actually pretty good. It was kind of a back and forth fight, and it went to a decision with Gene Matsumoto getting the nod at the end. Next fight is Daniil Danchenko versus Theodore Bredin. And Danchenko got the win over him. He KO'd him in the second round. Solid fight. Daniil seems to have a fun fighting style. He's like super reactive, though. Yeah, that wasn't a good performance by Theodore. And then the next fight was Khan Olafi versus Javier Reyes. Reyes looks like super awkward in like the stand-up. He ended up getting dropped and then subbed, and I think that was in the first round. Yeah, end of the first round. And then the next fight was, I'm going to butcher all these names. There's a Sultan Ruzabayev versus Andre Pulaev. Pulaev, he was just like overextending like into everything and just like running him down, just like overextending. And the other dude, Rizabayev, he kind of looked like he's like very skilled, kind of like everywhere. He had a really good performance, but he got him to the ground and like subbed him because I think Pulaev overextended and he ended up getting him to the ground and subbed him pretty quick after that first round sub. The next fight is Abdullah Rahman Yakayev versus Julius Walker, and Yakayev got him up out of there in like 4 seconds, just walked him down, bang, right hand, dropped him, show's over. And yeah, good performance by him. He's 9-0 in the UFC. I think he is a prospect that the UFC would like to push, but that was a really good performance by him. We'll see what he does in the future, but yeah. Great performance by Yakayev. Good job, Yakayev. The prelim was headlined by Farman Hazanov versus Eric Nolan. And Eric Nolan was a striker. Hazanov was looking to grapple very heavily, and he did so. Nolan couldn't really like stop any of the takedowns, and yeah, he just kind of got dragged, taken down to the ground, wrestle fucked, and then beat on for about 3 rounds. Didn't do like crazy damage or anything. Got a few good shots in there that cut him open, but yeah, that's how that fight went. All right, let's get into the main card now. So the first fight of the main card was Abus Magomedov versus Michael Olejek, something like that. And Abus dropped him with like a clean short elbow. Like there was a Abus was kind of just looking real comfortable the whole fight, just kind of like picking him apart at range. And then Olejek got him to the fence, tried to make it dirty in the clinch, and then Abus hit him with like a nasty like little short elbow, which dropped him, and then he hopped on a guillotine real fast and then like modified it by making it tighter by bringing his leg up to like put pressure on his arm, but got him out with the sub. That sub was really fast, and that elbow was nice too. If you weren't watching super closely, you'd probably miss it, but yeah, that was a good performance by Abus. I think he called out Izzy. He's in the 185 division. Called out Izzy. I think he's only lost to like Sean Strickland when Sean Strickland took it on short notice and knocked him out in the second round, and then Kyle Barallo, and then Joe Pyfer. So I'm guessing he's calling out Izzy because he just lost to Piper, actually. But yeah, good performance by Abus. Maybe we'll see him fighting Izzy next, or hopefully maybe getting up into the top 10, but he's good. Ikram Lisrov versus Bruno Ferreira was the next one. Okay, so I thought this was like Ikram's second fight in the UFC, because I remember, well, it wasn't his first actually, but like there was like talking a big game about him, like, because I guess he the only person he lost to was like Kamza, and he took him like 3 rounds like before the UFC. And yeah, they was just talking this dude up, and he had like one fight before Robert Whittaker, and Kamza had to pull out because he got sick or something. And then he fought Robert Whittaker and got knocked out in like 15 seconds. So yeah, he had 2 fights before this and he won. So 2 fights after Robert Whittaker, he won both those fights. Came in here against Bruno Ferreira. Bruno Ferreira seemed like tough. Yeah, he was tough. Seemed like well-rounded, kind of everywhere. But this was just it went to a decision. Ikram was kind of towards the end of the 3rd round. Ikram was kind of like riding him out, and at 22 seconds left, he was like, yeah, because like he already won the fight. And I don't know, I don't like that. I don't like that because like I like people when people like try and finish the fight, and if you're like at 22 seconds, like yeah, because like, oh, you already won and you're in a dominant position, so you're just gonna like try and ride out the round, which that's cool and everything, but it's just a personal preference. I don't like that. I like when people try to finish the fight. I even get mad when like what's his name, Marab, is like kind of like showboating and stuff like that, and because it just shows like, I feel like it shows like your mindset's not like they're trying to dog out a win and whatnot. It's just a personal preference, honestly. But yeah, I don't like that type of stuff. Next fight is Asu Almabaye versus Charles Johnson. And Charles Johnson was the dude who knocked out Lonnie Kavanaugh with the kick. Asu was just kind of like too much for this dude everywhere. The stand-up, he was whooping him. He was whooping him on the ground, taking him down at will. And yeah, he ended up submitting Charles Johnson at the end of the 3rd round with a banana split. Yeah, hit him with that. But yeah, good job, Asu. Oh, I think he, I don't know if he had any fights after this. I think he did, but, or maybe he didn't. But he lost to Manel Cap. Manel Cap, like, scratched his eye. Like, he, like, swiped it. It looked like he did it on purpose. He, like, swiped his eye like that, and then when he went like that, he rocked him with a punch and knocked him out. Next fight was Nazim Sadikov versus Matheus Camilo. And Nazim was looking real loose. He was out there, he was changing stances a lot and kind of just like cutting him off pretty well. And Matheus ended up just like catching him, coming in, boom, dropped him, and then like he covered up like that, and he hit like 4 shots, and then like after he like covered up, and he hit 4 shots on his arm, he like reached up and then like tried to like grab his head to pull him in so he couldn't posture up and throw big shots, but then the ref stopped it, and I think that was a horrible stoppage because he got dropped, and then like I get the cover up was kind of bad, but it was I'd say it was an intelligent defense because he just got dropped pretty good. And then he immediately, after he took like 4 shots on his elbow, he immediately like tried to break his posture down, which is what you have to do when that happens. But yeah, bad stoppage for sure, but good job, Matheus. But yeah, and I kind of like I haven't seen him fight too much, but I kind of like how Nazim was kind of moving in that fight. He looked like real comfortable. I thought he was going to have a good performance against this dude the way he was moving, but no. But one thing I did see, like, he's like switching stances a lot, and he's like real loose and just boom, flowy and whatnot. And but like every time like he'd like throw a strike or something, or like switch stances and like chase him down, like right when they're sitting in each other's faces before they're about to do something, or like after he does something, he kind of just like so he'll like jab, and then like he like resets and like bounces around in your face or whatever, instead of just like applying pressure and kind of like staying in that distance. And it just like gives the opponents like enough time to like read like when you're coming. And I think that's kind of what happened and why he got timed and dropped coming in. All right, so the next fight is SHARA Bullet versus Michelle Pereira. And I thought this would be SHARA Bullet's chance to have a really good performance against Michelle Pereira, but Not so much. It was a kind of a lackluster fight. SHARA Bullet was kind of just kicking him. Michel Pereira was diving in with wild punches and kind of deserved to get knocked out with the hands. But like SHARA's just like his ability to just strike with his hands and like counter and just have like meaningful, strong punches. Well, in this fight was not there. And yeah, now I'm thinking SHARA is extremely overrated. Extremely overrated. And yeah, I did not like this performance by him. And yeah, because I know he lost to MVP, but that's MVP, and that was just a striking battle. And yeah, I wonder what they're going to do with him next. Because Michel Pereira, he lost to Kyle Dawkins, got sparked out in the first round by him, got countered, and he wasn't even like throwing anything wild or anything like that. He was actually just like shooting a jab and stepping off to his outside shoulder. But yeah, Kyle Dawkins knocked out Michel Pereira, who just lost to Bo Nickel. But I definitely thought SHARA Bullet would have a better performance against Michael Pereira. And now we'll get into the main event. This is Rafael Fiziev versus Manuel Torres. I haven't watched Manuel Torres fight too much, but I've just kind of like heard about him. And this is the first time where I'm like watching him fight. Fiziev, he's coming off that knockout loss to Rufi, and he's 13-5 going into this match. Okay, so I've been seeing like a lot of things online. People is kind of like giving Fiziev shit and whatnot, just like I guess assuming that he's not that good. So, which explains why he was probably so happy like winning this fight, because he probably felt like he really needed to win after like the Justin Gaethje losses and whatnot. But Fiziev is a really good striker, and he showed it in this fight because he ended up knocking out Manuel Torres in the first round. No, I think it was the beginning of the second round. Yeah, right in the beginning of 7 seconds into the second round with a spinning wheel kick. And yeah, this fight was really good. Fiziev was doing a really good job kicking at Manuel Torres' legs and just kind of like breaking his stance down. Manuel Torres, Fiziev is like a Muay Thai-esque fighter, and he kind of does get like stationary at times and just like wants to get directly in front of you and just throw. He can grapple a little bit, but like he's not like, that's not like what he does, but he could wrestle a little bit. He's not going to like try and submit you or anything. But he did get a takedown on Manuel Torres to stifle some of his offense, because Manuel Torres, he'll overextend to some punches, but he's kind of like long, and I wouldn't say he does kind of have like a long range striking style, but I just don't think he's not like a sniper like on the outside, I don't think his like skill set in that is like super high, which would give Rafael Fiziev problems like with Rufi, or just like, yeah, that typically does give Muay Thai fighters some problems, because they want to be like kind of close to you and they stand like kind of squared, so sometimes they don't cover a lot of distance with their strikes. Manuel Torres did land a couple of good shots on Fiziev. Fiziev, before those shots landed, was able to take him down, and he eventually got up there, able to reset. But Fiziev was kind of on him, and I think he was getting the better of the exchanges, especially like in the first round, except at the end when like Manuel Torres kind of caught him with some good shots. But Fiziev was I thought it was a pretty good performance. Fiziev was kind of on him for sure. And then the second round happened, and he threw that spinning wheel kick, and Manuel Torres blocked it. Like the foot landed on the back of his glove. He definitely thought it was going to be going to the body, because when you block a kick, you got to block it with two hands. You got to you got to come here. Or on the, yeah, you got to come here. And he went here. He covered his head, and he put this hand down at the body, but it went to the head, and he only had his hand right here, and his heel landed right on the back of his hand, which still like staggered him, kind of dropped him. He got back up. Fiziev threw follow-up shots. None of them really like landed clean, but since he was already hurt, it was enough to put him down. And then like when he hit the ground, those ground and pound shots is what did all the damage, and boom, snapped his head back, lights went out, and that was the show. Fiziev is hovering just outside the top 10, I believe, and he lost to Rufi. He also lost to Justin Gaethje. which no shame losing to Gaethje, and Rufi's a dope striker. So the only people I could see them giving Fiziev in the top 10 would be Gamrot, Dan Hooker, or Renato Moicano. And I have a feeling they probably want to save Dan Hooker for someone that they're trying to like push. I feel like they're not trying to push Fiziev right now, so they probably won't give him Dan Hooker. But that would be a fun fight though. Renato is an option. Oh yeah, but Renato Moicano already beat Rafael Fiziev already beat Renato Moicano. He knocked him out. It was a while back though. And then Gamrot beat Rafael Fiziev a while ago. I think he subbed him. So I think they should, if they're not going to do the Dan Hooker, they should do the Gamrot rematch. And I think Gamrot bounced back after his win against his loss to Charles. But yeah, I think they should go Fiziev and Gamrot. Because, I mean, unless Gamrot's going to fight somebody in the top 5, but I think everyone's kind of all booked up. Ilya's out at the moment. He got to heal up. Justin Gaethje just won the belt. Well, Gamrot's not fighting for a title. What the hell? But, yeah, Patty and BSD's locked up. I forget who number 4 is, but, oh, yeah, Max Holloway, he's locked up. So, yeah. That's that. And I don't even know if Gamrot even beat anyone that would, like, qualify him to actually, like, fight someone in the top 5. I think he just beat some dude. I don't want to say some dude, but I don't know who he is. UFC Oklahoma City is Dricus du Plessis versus Kamaru Usman. And I think the reason why this fight is happening is because Kamaru wants to fight for the belt as soon as possible, and at 170 there's a lot of competition there, and Kamaru don't got a lot of time, and he wants to get to the belt. So I think this is the quickest way to do it, because he probably seen that Khamzat was able to hold DDP down for 5 rounds straight, and he already beat Sean Strickland when he was at 170. So maybe in his mind it makes sense that, hey, if I beat DDP in emphatic fashion, I get a title shot, which I wouldn't really be too mad about, I guess, if he wins in a spectacular way. But will that happen? That's another story. Let's get into it. DDP is just massive and girthy, and he has power, but he's not super precise. He can go 5 rounds for sure. I wouldn't say cardio is his strong suit, but he'll dog it out for 5 rounds, that's for sure. And he has good grappling. He has good grappling offense. His defense, yeah, not there. And especially on the wrestling side. Like, grappling defense for, like, jiu-jitsu-wise, probably there. But wrestling, he was just getting held down. And DDP's, like, he just always gets by off his physical attributes. He's, like, doing, like, people be on top of him. He's, like, literally, like, bench pressing people off of him and shit like that. And just doing, like, he's just big dogging you to get up. And against a high-level wrestler like Khamzat, that didn't work out too well, obviously. So, can Kamaru Usman pose a threat to DDP? If DDP just did not fix anything in the wrestling department, Kamaru Usman can actually probably get him down and just sit on top of him. That wouldn't be fun to see, but it could happen. But I think DDP is going to come back a little bit better than his performance with Khamzat, especially in the wrestling department. Do I think that that's enough time to just like, to fix everything wrong with DDP? No, I do not. I think DDP is just like a freakishly large dude for his weight class, and throughout his whole career when he's fighting in the gym and he's fighting people and he's just like throwing people around his size, I think that's built into his fighting style. It's baked in. It's not something that can just be like, taught out over a day or whatever. Like he moves a certain way that he moves because this works for him, and it's been working for him for a long time. So I feel like, yeah. Khamzat was able to shoot in. He was just shooting double legs. Khamzat was getting DDP to the ground through double legs and body locks, primarily. And Khamzat's double leg is so low, like he's shooting under your knees for sure. He'll get like down towards like your ankle. He's getting like to like around like the middle of your leg, and then you're just taking you for a ride from then. Usman's not getting that low. Usman got bad knees. Usman's getting up there in age, but he is a good wrestler. Those body lock stuff, DDP can probably like fix those issues pretty well, but just like the down blocking and just like defending the takedowns right off the shot. I think Kamaru Usman can have some success in there, but I think he's not going to be able to hold DDP down like that. And if he does, it's gonna take a lot of energy out of him. And I don't think the CEO of EPO can hang that long on the ground and just like last out 5 rounds. DDP's striking, he be throwing wild shots for sure. He's just like, but yeah, he just throws wild shots. He be eating stuff on the chin, but he's just big, girthy, can take it. Kamaru Usman, I wouldn't say his striking is that great either, but he has a good jab. He can throw a good 1-2 at times, but if it extends anything over those like 2 combinations, then he can get a little wild also. Depending on how Kamaru Usman approaches this fight, I think it could be a little interesting. I think the first 2 rounds will be the most competitive for sure, and then like just like as the fight goes longer and longer into it, I just think that DDP, I just feel like is going to be too big for Kamaru Usman. Just like he's not going to be able to fight him for the long haul. I think DDP is probably going to get Kamaru Usman out of there, and maybe I'm going to say the 4th round by TKO or KO. And yeah, and also with like Kamaru Usman grappling, I think when Kamaru Usman's like, he's not shooting as low down as Khamzat, but like I think GDP is going to like be able to like, he's going to be hunting for submissions and things like that, like as he's going to the ground. And I don't think Kamaru Usman's just going to like take him down as clean as Khamzat was doing, where he's just going straight to the ground and not having any time to grab onto anything. I think it's going to take a little bit of work to get DDP to the ground with Kamaru Usman no matter what. And that's going to leave opportunities for DDP to grab onto an arm, grab onto the neck. And I'm not saying he's going to submit Kamaru Usman, but he's going to be able to use that to get to better positions, make Kamaru Usman work. And yeah, I don't see Kamaru Usman knocking him out, that's for sure. Could it happen? It could, but it's so unlikely. And Kamaru Usman's not going to wrestle him, so like what? He's just going to like stay on him and jab him up and hit him with a straight right, or maybe he'll like try and strike with him at first, around like 2nd, 3rd rounds, maybe 3rd and 4th, start mixing in takedowns. I think it's going to be too late to do that, so he's going to have to do it a little bit earlier on. But yeah, maybe he could edge out some rounds with some takedowns, and then kind of just bang, 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 strike with them for a bit, and maybe win a decision. But I just don't. I don't see that happening. I think he's gonna get KO'd or TKO'd in the 4th round. This could come if he is trying to grapple with DDP. If DDP gets on top of Kamaru Usman, it's gonna be a long night. He's about to do damage right there. He's gonna be looking for submissions. He might not submit Kamaru. I don't think he's going to submit Kamaru Usman, but I just think he's going to just lay a heavy ground and pound. He's just going to mess him up. And it's like the longer the fight goes on, just his girth is just going to be girthing on him. And yeah, it's going to be bad, big dog. It's going to be bad, big dog. Man. It's going to be bad, big dog. But yeah, hopefully Dustin's all right. Next up, we got Magomed Ankalaev. I call him Ankles versus Khalil Roundtree. And this is a UFC Abu Dhabi. Actually, this card is actually pretty good. It's much better than the Kamaru Usman and DDP card. But every time the UFC goes to Abu Dhabi, they actually put on a pretty good card. Because, I'm pretty sure because Abu Dhabi pays the UFC to like bring fights there. And if they got fighters from that part of the region, then yeah, that's why they pay the UFC to be over there. And just like pretty sure like they want tourism and things like that. But yeah, that started when like Khabib was champion, and they were paying him, I think they'd pay him like $3 million or something just to have the fight there. I don't know what the deal is now, but I'm pretty sure that's why all those cards are like pretty good, because they, but yeah, I'm gonna probably do a more of a dedicated breakdown to like the whole card, because Umar is on there, and there's another good fight that's on there as well. But yeah, it's a pretty good card. Anyways, so Ankles versus Khalil Roundtree. I don't think this is going to be a super competitive fight. I think it's going to be a dangerous fight, but like dangerous doesn't mean difficult. Dangerous just means like there's danger there. You're probably going to get stung with a few hard shots, but it's not going to be anything to where like the fight's getting away from you or anything like that. I think Khalil Roundtree is... I'm not the biggest Khalil Roundtree fan, and I don't think he's all that great. He got a title shot off of beating Anthony Smith, and like on paper that sounds good. Not even on paper it sounds good, bro. He got the title shot against Alex Pereira, and he kind of got whooped on. Like, yeah, he landed some big shots on Alex for sure, but Khalil Roundtree is always going to land some big shots on you. He does that, and I mean, he's not like garbage or anything like that. So he's a striker. He's going to land some good stuff on you. But yeah, I think he kind of got messed up. It was a fun fight for sure, but I think Alex kind of messed him up throughout the whole course of the 4 rounds. But Khalil Roundtree is just fast and he's powerful, but he's not precise, which is why he's kind of like, okay, he's not precise. He's not precise. He doesn't like set up shots or anything like that. He has some like good technical abilities where he's slipping and just like countering you, and everything's just coming in really fast. But he's also like, he has like super big windups. He's like bringing that shit from like all the way back here and throwing that motherfucker. And like, I think he's really good in the first round, mainly just because his punches are just fast enough still to be a problem. And then as the fight goes on, like since he's bringing punches back from all the way over here, or fucking he's literally throwing punches like that. And when the fight goes into like the later rounds and his punches are getting more labored, like that's how you're throwing punches. And like, you're gonna get messed up, bro. You're gonna get messed up, but you're gonna put hands on somebody for sure, which he does, but it's not precise. He's throwing haymakers at all times. And yeah, I don't think his cardio is that good either, but like, I don't even think it's because he has bad cardio. I just think he's throwing haymakers all the time. But yeah, I think Magomed Ankalaev is really good at controlling spacing. He always staying at like a good distance away from you. I don't know if he's southpaw or not, but I think it's his left hand. His left or right hand, whatever. His rear hand is really fast, shoots it out, bang. He's good at countering you, and he's just real fast on the trigger with that thing. And someone who's winding up like this, I think that's a good recipe for Magomed to knock you out in the 3rd or 4th round. I'm going to give Khalil Roundtree a little bit more credit. I think he's going to get to the 4th round and then get knocked out, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends earlier than that. Do I think that Khalil Roundtree has a path to victory? No, I don't really. To be honest, like I said, like I think this is for Magomed, it's a dangerous fight, but it's not difficult. You know, high level danger, low medium diff, and I think Khalil Roundtree's best bet would be to just basically do what Alex did. Magomed likes space. He likes to have a good distance between you and him, to where he likes to be right on the cusp, right out of your range, and he's looking to step in, counter you. And yeah, he just stays at that really good range. And I think that's why Alex, well, I'm assuming Alex just fucking bull rushed him down that second fight. Boom, knocked his ass out real fast. Do I think Khalil Roundtree can do that? No, not so much. I think he has a chance. I think he could go in there and hit you really hard, but since like his shots aren't necessarily precise and he just kind of he'd be throwing things. The only way he could land something like that is if Magomed gets like just super reckless in the beginning and he throws something, then Khalil Roundtree slips and counters or something like that and just like, yeah, basically evades one of his shots with like a slip or dips and then rips something. But that's the only way I think that he's gonna get Magomed out of there. I think Magomed will be able to take him down as well. He wasn't able to take Alex Pereira down, but I do think he could take Khalil Roundtree down if the fight needs to go that way, which I don't think it will. I think he's gonna knock him out, which I said already. But yeah, I just think that Magomed's a little bit too good for him, a little too technical. Just like, I think he's going to keep a good amount of space in between them. Khalil Roundtree likes to mosey on over to you and like bounce on his toes and stuff. And he's kind of just like staying in the same spot. Khalil Roundtree fought with Alex Pereira. He got his stock got raised. And then that's when he started fighting some of like the more of the top fighters in the division. Well, I guess he fought Jamal Hill, which good game plan on that fight. Good game plan. But I do think he could have finished Jamal Hill if he wanted to like, you know, go for it, you know. Instead, he just wanted to leg kick him and then just like be like, yeah, I won. Basically, when I was talking about that one dude, Ikram Aliskerov, he was basically doing that and just like kicking him, and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna just take it to a decision, which I think he could have knocked him out, but didn't. And he dropped him. Like, yeah, he blitzed him like 2 times during that fight, and when he had a bad leg, dropped him 1 time, but he didn't really do it. I felt like he was just being tentative, and he was just like, yeah, I won this, so he was just gonna take that dominant victory and go on. And like I said again, I don't like stuff like that. And also, I think it's so when he fought Yuri Prochazka, right? Yuri always goes for the finish. He's gonna like dog it out with you or whatever. He's gonna throw back. He's gonna exert himself to get a finish on you, and he'll force that like where you gotta be at to finish somebody, instead of just like, like letting him go off, like just letting the decision happen. I don't know if I'm making sense, but it will make sense. Okay, it makes sense. So when it went to that 3rd round and Khalil Roundtree had to dog it out against Yuri Prochazka, and he couldn't match Yuri's dog, because Yuri, every single fight, he's always looking to finish you, If you're taking like fights off or whatever, like, oh, I'm just gonna take a decision, and like that's that. I feel like when you go to those moments to where like it was in that 3rd round, and you gotta a motherfucker's like coming, just going for broke, trying to put these on you and finish your ass, and you're taking shit off, like he's gonna be better like in that firefight, and just like in that mindset of like, I need a finish, I'm trying to finish. And yeah, and then even when like Alex Pereira started picking up on him and just boom, 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 and Alex is a finisher, and like when he's like, oh, like he's seeing that it's not even if he's seeing that you're hurt, it's just seeing that like when he's deciding, oh, I'm gonna finish it right now or whatever, like when Alex Pereira just ran down Magomed Ankalaev and starched him, like just that where your mind gets into that space, I feel like Khalil Roundtree doesn't necessarily have it. I think he's a vicious striker and everything, but I don't think I don't know if I'm making sense, but I'm telling you, but like, yeah. I don't think like he's gonna like dog out a finish against Magomed Ankalaev. He's not gonna like enforce his will upon Magomed and force Magomed to get into firefights and make mistakes with him and use that to his advantage to get a finish. I'm not saying that fighters are thinking about it that way, but like when you're like that, when like Yuri's trying to hunt you down, when Alex is trying to hunt you down, where they just want to turn it on like that, and they're hitting that mode, you got to be able to fire back with them. And Khalil Roundtree was not able to do that against either one of those two. And so when like fighters are like in the 3rd round, they're just like, yeah, like showboating, whatever. I feel like that is somewhat of a hindrance to it. Sorry guys, I was getting real tired towards the end of that video, and I feel like I might not have been like super clear on what I was saying, but I didn't mean showboating, but basically when fighters have basically already won the fight and they're just riding out the rounds in order to get to the end of the match, and they're not seeing the fight as a fight anymore. It's just like, hey, I'm about to win this match or whatever. And I feel like that in itself is kind of like a mental lapse, especially with someone like Khalil Roundtree style, who relies on explosive striking. And if you're just always in that mode of like looking for a finish from fight to fight, then you get like sharper at looking for that. And if you're like taking it off, it hinders like that finishing ability. If you're like just letting things slide. I could be wrong, but that's just how I see it, and that's how I kind of feel about it. But yeah, I hope everyone had a good weekend. Appreciate you guys. Have a good day. Peace.